Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be doing my top 5 most surprising movies of 2024. Now the criteria for this is these are movies that I didn't expect too much from and I actually really enjoyed them more than I thought I would. That's it. Some people may not like these movies on this list, some people may love them. It's just my list. Don't forget to leave your most surprising movies of the year in the comments down below. I'll get back to you all, I promise. And don't forget to check out my most disappointing movies, my top 10 movies of 2024. I'll leave it in a playlist down below there, guys. Let's just get into it now with number 5. Number 5 is actually going to be Salem's Lot. Now, I've only seen the first movie / miniseries once, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I thought it was okay, but I was hugely disappointed because I got to it later in life, and everyone said that this is one of the best Stephen King adaptations of all time. And I just really didn't care for it at all. There was some great moments in there and stuff. I've always wanted to rewatch it, but it's a very, very long movie, so I'm going to have to find the time to do that. But I think I prefer this remake, personally. Now, look, a lot of people grew up with Salem's Lot, and that is fine, and they're going to hate this remake, but I didn't, okay? And I just had a lot of fun with this. I mean, this basically is the same story. I like the main characters at the forefront here. There's a little bit of a romance going on that I kind of got invested in. There's one character's mother who's just insane in this movie. He's always pushing her daughter for romance with this other guy, and she kind of likes this other guy. I thought that was kind of fun. But when we get into all the vampire stuff, it kind of had a little bit of a Stranger Things vibe to it, with the kids getting involved with taking down the vampires, especially the main kid in this. I think his name's Mark. He was a really cool character who wanted to kick some ass there. But it's all nicely shot, very small town feel, but it does have that 70s aesthetic to it. And I just thought this was more catered to me. It's a movie that is better paced, in my opinion. It just flows better. And as a third actor, it's kind of fun. I mean, just seeing these vampires get took out and stuff, it was just fun. It just worked for me a lot more. Now, apparently there is a longer cut coming on Blu-ray, and I'd like to check that out just to see if it's a bit more detail in it and more true to the book or whatever. But for now, I just thought this was fine. I thought it was a better movie than the original, in my opinion. And I've heard some people who say that they enjoyed the original Salem's Lot actually be surprised by this movie because they enjoyed this as well. So yeah, it was decent. It was decent. It was a decent vampire flick, I thought. Nothing special, nothing amazing, but one that I was like, yeah, this one works for me a lot better. This one just flows for me more. That is Salem's Lot. Number 4 is going to be VHS Beyond. Now, I watch these movies for the past 3 or 4 years. Every time they come out, we seem to get one every October on Shudder. I haven't seen them all, but I usually think there's 2 or 3 stories in there that do it for me, the rest don't. And there's usually about 5 or 6 stories. But this one, I was very surprised because I was on story 4. I just finished it, and I was like, I've enjoyed every single one of these. Unfortunately, the 5th movie does let it down a little bit, because that is definitely the weakest, and I think that's directed by Mike Flanagan's wife, Kate Siegel. That is basically just about a woman in the desert, but it's all done on found footage. Well, in fact, all these stories are done on found footage, but it just has a little bit more of a grainier look to it, and it's kind of meant to be filmed on a 1995 recorder and stuff like that, I believe. That one just didn't work for me. However, the first story, we have like this first-person shooter where this SWAT team enter this house full of zombies and they're just kicking ass and there's chainsaws getting ripped through people and stuff. Thought that was great. The second story, we have this pop star who's got like a sinister background that we find out. The third story, my favourite VHS story, not just in this one, but in every VHS film, was about skydiving. And it was just, I was thinking, how can you do a horror short on a skydiving expedition? But they did it, and it just really made me want to pick up the pen and start writing again, because I used to write as a kid. I've always wanted to get back to it, and I was just thinking, look, if you can make a horror story out of that, you can make one out of anything. And that was definitely the best one. The 4th one as well, seeing this weird woman who minds dogs and stuff. When we go into her basement, things start to hit the fan. Shit starts to hit the fan and stuff. And I just thought it was a very enjoyable VHS movie. I mean, this is probably my favourite VHS film out of them all now, because it is definitely the strongest and most consistent. It's a shame about that last story, but the first four are awesome. And if you love horror, definitely check it out. So that is VHS Beyond. Number 3 is going to be A Quiet Place Day 1. And I thought this is just going to be a cash grab here. I really wanted to see A Quiet Place Part 3 following Emily Blunt's character's family and seeing what was going to happen with them after that abrupt ending. Also, A Quiet Place Part 2 had a segment in it showing day 1. And I thought that's all we needed to see. Do we really need to go back to day 1 and see these aliens invade again? They've just done it in a little mini segment there in Part 2 perfectly. Probably the best part of that movie for me, to be honest. But man, I was blown away by this film. I really thought that this was just going to rely on the creature kills and that was it. But there's something a lot more to this movie, and that is the friendship between Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn's character. Now, Lupita Nyong'o is dying of a terminal disease, sadly. And she just wants to go to the other end of New York to get this pizza that she's been craving because she knows she's going to die anyway. And she is going to do everything to get there. And even when these creatures land and the world is going to end, it enhances it even more to get there. And Joseph Quinn kind of latches onto her character and they form this friendship. You don't think they will be ever friends in real life, but this unworldly event that's happening just seems to bring them together. And the chemistry between them is great. They form this real friendship with a lot of heart. You definitely latch on to both characters and you really do want them to, especially Joseph Quinn's character, to get out of this, because you kind of know the fate of Lupita Nyong'o anyway, but you really don't want anything bad to happen to them, even though she's on her way out anyway. You kind of don't want the creatures to get there, put it that way. But all the stuff that I thought was going to happen with the blockbuster stuff and all these creatures attacking is handled very well. It happens a lot, but with that story in the middle, in the center, the main focus, it cracks it as well. So it's a great mix of both. But when these moments do happen with the creatures, man, it's awesome. There's some really well-directed scenes here, some really edgy-seat stuff. The meat and bones of these movies is people having to be quiet. There's some great segments with that. But I just didn't expect this story with these two characters, and it was so great to watch. So yeah, they didn't just do a little cash grab. They really thought about the story here. And afterwards, I thought, I would love to see these movies take place in different not time periods, but maybe day 31 or day 246 in another country or whatever. There's a lot to expand this universe on. My only gripe with the movie is that they didn't really expand the lore of A Quiet Place. It's kind of a sidestep film. You know, we don't learn anything new about the creatures or anything like that. It's just a sidestep movie. It's a story that takes place in that universe. But overall, a pretty damn good film. That is A Quiet Place, day 1. Number 2 is going to be Smile 2, another movie that I just thought, oh, that's a cash grab. Because of the success of Smile, we're just going to be doing this again. And I thought, really, do we need a sequel to Smile? And after thinking about this for a while, I think I prefer this movie to the first one. And the reason for that is Parker Finn absolutely steps up his A-game here in the directing department. He did a good job at Smile 1, but there's so many great shots in this movie. The opening scene, for example, is probably one of the best horror movie moments of the year. All done in a one-shot sequence. I love one-shot sequences. And there is some moments here where the main character, played by Naomi Scott, it has all these people smiling and coming after her in her apartment, but every time she turns around, they're all stopped. It's great choreography. It really is. One of the creepiest scenes I've seen all year. There's a scene where two characters are arguing in a car, and Parker Finn is just moving the camera left to right. Such a simple thing to do, but it feels like you're in the thick of the argument there. Like you're sitting right in between them characters. So many great directional choices. It is also stepped up by Naomi Scott, who might just give the performance of the year here as this, like, she's like the biggest pop star in the world, but she's had a little bit of a derailment in her career because of drugs and alcohol, but she wants to get back on track. And unfortunately, this smiling demon that has took over it has just come at the worst time possible. I mean, is there ever a good time for this demon to take over you? Probably not. But I just thought this was more interesting than having like the therapist, nurse type character from the first film, who did a great job there. Saoirse Bacon, or Sosie Bacon is it? She did a great job in the first movie, but Naomi Scott is just on another level here. I mean, but the fact that she's this pop star really just makes it more fun. The cameras are always on her. You know, she's in the spotlight. Paparazzi are chasing her everywhere, and it just, to see her lose her mind and control was just so much more fun to follow this character, I thought. But also, Parker Finn knows how to put you in her shoes. She's going mad. She doesn't know what's true, what she's seeing. Is it real? Is it not? And as an audience member, you kind of feel that as well. I've heard a few people say they don't like that because it kind of throws you off. But I actually like that. It made me feel like I was in their mind at times. So great directing, great performance, all round great sequel. So that is Smile 2. Number 1, though, is going to be Speak No Evil. Now, I was just like, what the fuck are we doing here? A remake to a movie that came out 2 years ago, that's in English anyway. And I don't know how you can better that. And it was a very, very dark film and stuff, an ending that was so bleak, but it made me sit up and take notes. Like, I was just thinking after it for a while, oh my God, I can't stop thinking about this film. And for him, it felt like Blumhouse were just going, oh, we're going to take that idea, nothing for ourselves, and just make our own movie out of it. And you know what? This was like shot for the first hour. And I was thinking, oh my God, the trailers were right. It looked like the exact same film. But there's enough that happens in the third act to differentiate it from the original movie. And I'm kind of glad that we have both of these now, because there's more of a light-hearted sort of blockbustery feel with one, and then a darker, bleaker one, and you can kind of choose which one really. But there was a lot of fun to be had in my cinema. I don't like people speaking throughout movies and stuff, but I love reactions. Like, there's a lot of times where people were just laughing with awkwardness at some of the moments in here. Like, there's one moment where James McAvoy and his wife are performing a sex act in front of this couple, and it just felt so awkward. But basically, the movie is actually about James McAvoy and his wife, who meet this couple on holiday. They become friends. James McAvoy says, come and stay with us in the countryside. They go, and start lots of sinister, weird things start happening. It's just a very uncomfortable film. But that's the beauty of this movie. And James McAvoy, in one of his best performances ever. I mean, he is so unhinged in this film. He puts you so on edge, and you just know he's up to something. You just can't take your eyes off the guy. He is a wonderful actor. He's the biggest positive about this movie. But the fact that I didn't think we need this remake, and I'm glad that we actually have it now, I had a great time with it. It was a very entertaining movie, and one of my favourite times at the cinema all year, just with them crowd reactions and stuff. So yeah, if you want a movie that'll make you sit up, take notice, and squirm a little bit, you can't go wrong with Speak No Evil. But either one of these films are great. But I just expected nothing from this, and I got a lot out of it. So that is Speak No Evil. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. What are your most surprising movies of the year? Please leave it in the link down below. I'll get back to you all, I promise. Don't forget to check out my other end of year list. They'll be in the link down below as well. Thanks so much guys. You take care, and I'll see you all in the next video.